Coming up on today's show, we're going to break down reports that an Immanuel Quickley contract extension could be coming soon, so I'll give you my thoughts on that. And also, we're going to give you an update on the OG Anunoby trade rumor saga, as it sounds like Toronto may be holding on to the Elite 3 and D player. But first, make sure you guys share this video. The goal for today on this show is to have 20 people share this video to Twitter. And the way you can do that is by clicking the share button down below. Looks just like that. Select the Twitter icon, click post to Twitter, and then tag your boy at @MarshallGreen_. I'm going to give you a retweet. I'm going to give you a follow back. And then on Tuesday's live show, I'm going to give shout outs to everybody that shares this video. So if you could, be a real one and share it on Twitter. Let's start with reports coming out around Immanuel Quickley, the runner-up for the Sixth Man of the Year for the New York Knicks. The question is Immanuel Quickley going to get a contract extension before the 2023 season gets going? Ian Begley of SNY hopped on Zach Lowe's podcast of ESPN and said this: "It's obvious to say this, but I think some of the coaches were a little disappointed with his play. But I don't think in any way that impacts the long-term feelings between the Knicks and Quickley. Now, with Donte DiVincenzo here, Grimes or Quickley or someone else, I think it makes one of those players easier to move." And I 100% agree with what Begley had to say on this. And we've said that and echoed those same thoughts time and time again. The Knicks bringing in the big ragu and Donte DiVincenzo to this team definitely was a move to make them better, but I think it was more of an insurance move as to where, like Begley said, if the Knicks move on from Quentin Grimes in a trade for a superstar or Immanuel Quickley or RJ Barrett, they would have another young player that's a good two-way player come off the bench and fill that role. Because when you look at this lineup right now, it seems like every position outside of the backup four has a true backup where they're not going to get as much minutes as we would like. You got Brunson and Quickley, they are handcuffed. Quickley and DiVincenzo, they are handcuffed. Barrett and Josh Hart, they're both going to play some three. They're both going to play some small ball four. Then you have Isaiah Hartenstein and Jericho Sims with Mitchell Robinson. And Julius Randle, I guess you could say his backup is Isaiah Roby, but I don't expect that to be the guy going into the season. So the question is, if they do move on from either Quickley, Grimes, or RJ Barrett, DiVincenzo would fill that role. And I do agree also, like Begley said, that Immanuel Quickley's playoff run was disappointing. I mean, nobody was more disappointed than I was, because when you think about how effective of a player Immanuel Quickley was in the regular season, he had star-level production for the Knicks at times. But in the playoffs, that fell off. When you look at the 8 games that he played in, he missed the final 3 due to injury. He had some good games. He also had some games where he wasn't so good. Here are the stats. One thing I will say about Quickley is he did not let his struggles on the offensive end affect him on the defensive end. When you look at the defensive win shares per player in the NBA playoffs, Immanuel Quickley's was the second highest in the NBA, which means he brought it every single night and made game-changing plays. And he had some solid games in the playoffs as well. Game 3 against the Cavs, he had 11 points, was 4-6, and was a plus 27 in the plus-minus. He was plus 11 in Game 4. Against Miami, though, he really didn't play good at all. All those games shooting less than 50% and was never a player that achieved a plus-minus. When you look at the stats in totality, they are a little eyesore. I mean, 9 points per game, less than 2 rebounds, less than 2 assists, less than 35% from the field, and less than 25% from downtown. I am very disappointed, and I am upset that Immanuel Quickley paid like this. But it was his first playoffs where he got major minutes. And I know some people are like, why don't you give RJ Barrett this luxury? Well, RJ Barrett's been in the league for 4 years. Immanuel Quickley just 3. And Immanuel Quickley had a much better regular season than RJ Barrett did. I mean, the kid averaged 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and he showed huge growth during the regular season, becoming an efficient player on offense, 45%. And he became one of the best guards off the bench that can knock it down from deep at 37%. I kind of lighten the pressure and not the expectations, but how upset I am and disappointed in his playoff run because of how good he was in the regular season. And another reason I think that the Knicks need to keep him long-term is he is such a winning player and he fits what the Knicks want. And he can play alongside their best player in Jalen Brunson in the backcourt because of what he does well. He can knock it down in a catch-and-shoot situation from beyond the three-point arc at a 40% clip. He can create his own shot from deep pull-ups, averaging about a 34.5% conversion rate. When he puts his head downhill and he gets in that little floater spot, showed he could finish with the left and the right hand this year at almost 60%. And I love the defensive prowess that Immanuel Quickley has. 1.6 deflections per game. And when it comes to defensive win shares, he was the 12th highest amongst all guards in the NBA. So you're getting an elite offensive player and an elite defensive player. And in a guy, when he has to start, when either Brunson's hurt or Quinn Grimes is hurt or RJ Barrett is hurt, he showed up in a major way. In 21 starts this year for Quickley, the guy gave you 23, 5, and 5 on 47% from the field and over 40% from downtown. He fits perfectly because he could play alongside Brunson. He could take Brunson's spot. He could run the offense. You could run the offense through him. You could tell him to go get a bucket. He can create for others, and he's also going to strap up on that defensive end. I think Immanuel Quickley continues to be one of the most underrated players in the league, but I am very disappointed in the way he played or the lack of production he had in the playoffs. Begley also said this about what the price point might be for number 5. He said, but nonetheless, I would be surprised if the Knicks didn't come to an agreement with Immanuel Quickley on an extension, whether it's $20 million or $18 million annually, because they like Quickley as a player and also because other teams will like Quickley as a player. And if you're getting Immanuel Quickley on a contract extension of $18 million of average annual value, that would be an absolute steal in the current climate of the NBA. Because when you look at the highest paid guards going into the 2023 season, $18 million wouldn't even be top 35. And I would take Immanuel Quickley over Anthony Simons, Terry Rozier, a busted-up Malcolm Brogdon, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, and Buddy Hield. And he's younger than all of those players, and he's a better defensive player than pretty much everybody on this list. Still can't believe Malcolm Brogdon won that Sixth Man of the Year over him. What a joke that was. How much, though, do you think the Knicks should pay Immanuel Quickley? Is it 5 years, $20 million, 5 years for $100? Is it 5 for $90? How much should the Knicks pay Immanuel Quickley per year? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. How much money per year? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. We're going to talk about OG Anunoby and the latest trade rumors in just a quick bit. But first, I need you guys to take advantage of the deal of the summer. Save 20% off our New York Knicks Now Real One t-shirts when you go to chatsports.com/realknicks and use the promo code SummerVibes20. The promo code, it ain't going to last forever. So if you want a shirt, you want to be a real one, and you want to save some money, go to chatsports.com/realknicks. And remember, promo code SummerVibes20. Alrighty, let's break down the latest on OG Anunoby, one of the best two-way wings in the National Basketball Association. Question of today's show, are the Raptors looking to hold on to Anunoby in trade talks as they look to move on from Pascal Siakam? Over the past couple of days, it seems like the Siakam rumors are getting hotter and hotter, and he might be the player that they move out of the six. Ian Begley of SNY said this also on Zach Lowe's podcast, the Lowe Post podcast is what it's called. Check it out. Awesome show. He said, as of late last week, I hadn't heard anything about Toronto even listening or taking calls on OG Anunoby. Obviously, that could change, but I would assume they are keeping Anunoby going into the 2023 season. And this doesn't mean that an OG Anunoby trade is technically dead, right? It does, I think, lower the expectation for me that he will be dealt before the season, but that doesn't mean the Knicks can't reassess and maybe make a move for Anunoby at the trade deadline. I mean, remember last trade deadline, the Knicks made an offer for Anunoby of 3 protected first-round picks, and with Anunoby being a expiring contract and set to hit NBA free agency, and Masai Ujiri, the head decision-maker for the Raptors, seeing and maybe reflecting on his past mistakes of letting Fred VanVleet walk for nothing in free agency, and also could have had the chance to trade him at the trade deadline, maybe he switches up his line of thinking, and if he gets any indication that OG is going to go out and sign somewhere else in free agency, he could move him at the NBA trade deadline. I continue to say it, though, that I think OG would be a great fit with the New York Knicks. Because what does he do well? He defends on the perimeter better than almost everybody in this league at his position, and he's a guy that can knock down the three. We talked about it in yesterday's show. The Knicks had the 24th ranked three-point percentage in the regular season and the worst three-point percentage in the NBA playoffs. So they need more guys that can knock down the long ball at a consistent rate. And Anunoby has done that each of the last 4 seasons, never shooting less than 36% from beyond the three-point arc. He's also going to give you about 16, 17 points per night. He led the NBA in steals this year at 1.9 a night. He will take the responsibility of guarding the opposing team's best offensive player night in, night out. He's someone that's getting better when it comes to handling the rock and creating the shot for himself, but he does have a couple of spots that he has to get better at. He needs to become a better finisher around the rim. He's one of the highest players on average that turns the ball over per 100 drives. He needs to tighten up that handle a little bit. But man, when he gets an open look from downtown in a catch and shoot situation, he knocks it down at a 40+% clip. He can hang out in the corner and be an elite shooter from there. 47% from the left corner and almost 43% from the right corner. And not only is he a great on-ball defender, led the NBA in steals this game, he is in the season, he is a disruptor on the defensive end. Great off-ball defender, really good length, over a 7-foot wingspan. That's why he was 3rd in the National Basketball Association this year in deflections at 241. So I want to ask you guys this question, because I believe if the Knicks trade for OG Anunoby, RJ Barrett is going to be the player going out in that deal. I don't know if I would include RJ. What do you think? Pick a player. Who would you rather have on the Knicks next year? Is it RJ? Is it OG? Get your votes in the comment section. Also, guys, if you want to continue the conversation on OG, RJ, Immanuel Quickley, or anything Knicks or NBA, NFL, Giants, Yankees, maybe Shohei coming to the Big Apple, hit me up on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_.